Sorry, who the hell do the Trumps think they are building a resort in Albania? Guys, these people are hypocrites, and I'm getting so freaking sick and tired of all the world leaders, as you guys know. And my goodness, anyway, let's get into this because I just think it's so freaking interesting, right? That in a country similar to this country that's all spouting about the issue with people coming into the country and people coming into the country, right? To at the very same time be so bold and brazenly going around doing things, getting involved in foreign affairs. And now you've got, who is it? Ivanka, I think it was, who wanted to have a 1.4 billion resort in Albania because while they were out and they were looking there, they just saw this piece of land. They thought it would be beautiful to start a resort. And the Albanians weren't very happy about it. You guys, this is what I'm talking about. This is why I say that us people in the West, the people, the jury of the sheeple, the average civilian, in the West, you people are stupid. This is exactly what I'm talking about. When you fall for these things that the governments are talking about, the immigration, and I've got another thing to talk about immigration, by the way, because I feel like there's something a bit more sus about why we're all of a sudden making a big deal about this that has actually nothing to do with public safety and actually everything to do with something else. But this is what I want you guys to understand. Like, let's all utilize the fact we have social media. Can we all actually make the fact that we have social media actually mean something? Can we do that? Because the fact that we can all go and look and see what's happening in the world should tell you the truth. If you're so concerned about America, you're so concerned about Americans, then be in America dealing with American affairs. But why is it every time I'm hearing about this guy and his family, they're doing something somewhere else? Who gives you the right to think you need to go and have a resort in Albania? Who gives you that right? Exactly. And this is the part where I feel like I must say, because even for me, like when I last went to Zimbabwe in 2018, of course we went to what is actually called in my language, or my family's language, Mosio Atunya, which means the smoke that thunders, or the smoke which thunders, which was renamed Victoria Falls. Why is that? Oh, because the people came and they decided to take over something somewhere else. And this is the news flash I think I need to give to those of you in the West that you don't seem to know, which of course none of this is included in your geography or history lessons. The same way that, interestingly, in the UK history, I've learned about Woodrow Wilson and about the Cold War and this war and that war and what the United States did and what they didn't do and the building of NATO and this and that. But I ain't never learned about American independence. That kind of feels a little bit strategic. Like maybe they didn't really want the Brits to know this Pride Month we're having and all this pride of Britain. Maybe we don't have as much pride as we think we can have over here because actually you were taken down by the Americans, but they don't talk about that. And a lot of British people, I don't think, are aware of that. Even I was late to discover that. Somebody who had been born in the United States and whatnot and what have you and has lived on 3 different continents. You would think I would have known. Even I didn't. I found out about that as an adult in my own personal research. So all I want to say here is let's all take the time in all our countries to go and do the history, looking at what's happening in different places all over the world. And also let's call out the hypocrisy, because what the flip, who the hell does this family think they actually are? But you know what? I don't even blame them, because the world lets them get away with it, because historically, politicians, leaders, kings, emperors, whoever, throughout like literally human history, have done dumb stuff, have gone and done things that don't make any sense. And the people have still been behind them. The people have still been behind me. The reason why I bring this up is because, look, I understand that when it came down to the last presidential election, right, and this is why I'm like, we just need to take them all out. There's not an excuse of picking this one or that one. We just need none of them. We're taking them all out. Get rid of all of them, right, and start afresh. A lot of people, partially myself included, because to be honest, in my head, looking at the data, Trump seemed like a better choice. In my heart, I felt like it still wasn't good enough, and I still felt off about it, which is why when it came down to time to vote, my friend was all like, you should vote, because I can vote from here. I've got my ballot right here that they've sent me, to vote right now in the United States. It's been sent to me all the way from the United States of America. And I low-key kind of like half-arsed it, where I was like, I'll try and kind of post it, but I won't rush to posting it, because I was like, if it doesn't make it on time, oh no, which is exactly what happened. And I was like, thank God. But I was being pushed and forced by somebody else, like, well, you should choose Trump, you need to vote. It was an older American person that I know, or rather that I knew. I think I can understand where everybody's coming from, and everybody was. And I feel like we need to, rather than do what we always do and pretend that we didn't, that this wasn't a bad idea, that this was really bad. And then now, because he's just so used to getting away with this stuff, so are all the politicians, because they know we're just going to let them do it. This is why they do stuff like this, because who are you? I don't go on traveling, guys. I've got such an issue with traveling these days. And I'll be honest with people as a whole traveling. Because when I go to a country, I go to a country to enjoy the local cuisine, to enjoy the local culture, to enjoy the local things, meet the local people and see what's happening and just appreciate it as a visitor. As a visitor. Now, my problem is that I had no say in the early stages of my life. So a lot of people would say, go back to your country. And if they had said that to me, I would have to go to America, because that's the only place I'm actually a citizen. And I couldn't even, like, do you know what I mean? Like, and I listen. And the only reason we even moved is because America came to Zimbabwe to collect and this is the other thing that's funny. America literally came to Zimbabwe to hire my mom to work in the hospital. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. This is why I'm like, like, you know what I mean? Because it's like, well, you know. But anyways, nevertheless, some could argue that you came to take the best of our countries to search for your countries. Some could argue that also was not fair, and that you should have, if you had respect for the nation, you would have left the professionals, because maybe, and I do wonder this sometimes a lot, because you see this, I also think this with countries like India, because I mean, let's be so freaking for real. In places like the UK, all of the freaking doctors are Indian. Like, they're Indian, let's be so real. And so I'm like, maybe if coming to the West wasn't so profitable financially, where you get to, you know, spend the GBP, the Great British Pound, that heavy currency, right? The heavy Great British Pound. Listen to that. That's not even money anymore, that pound. Do you hear that? Do you hear that? It's not, you can't even use it anymore because it's the old pound. I keep it here. I don't know if it's just always here. Listen. Why is money that loud? Why is it that heavy? But the Great British Pound, yeah. And I wish I don't know where my euros are. Otherwise I would have just done a comparison in the sound. But anyway, one could argue if they'd left everybody where they were, maybe the world would look different. Maybe you took the cream of the crop. Maybe you came and took the cream of the crop. Maybe that's the problem. I'm not really saying that. But my point is, isn't that such an interesting attitude to have, to like go somewhere and like the entitlement element to then also be the same people talking about, we need to build a wall, we need to build whatever, we got a problem with people at the border, blah, 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 blah. But I have a theory as to why they're really making an issue about the borders and immigration and all of this. Because I think it's got nothing to do with the state of the country. It's got nothing to do with the culture. I think there's two specific things I want to talk about in a separate video. But I'm just like, who do you have to be to think you are to go to another country? And now at this point, rather than embrace them and learn about them and learn like what's there and just, you know, hear from what they think would be helpful. I've noticed you got this piece of, like, you know what I mean? Rather than do that, how in earth, where in your brain did you think, oh, I'm going to go there and I'm going to think, oh, I know what's best. We should build a resort. And I bet, and have you factored in, is this a resort that the people want? Is this, maybe they're leaving the land for a reason? Like I said, when I went to Poland, this is what I love, and I'm going to keep referring back to this. The air there is so beautiful because there's like so much just land. And I think it's the biggest country, the largest is in like size-wise, in Europe. Is Russia in Europe? You see, this is what I don't know about geography. And if you go around, it's so big, yeah? But like most of it, like there's just big, huge forests. And when I say the trees are massive, you guys know I like to go out by the trees and I love being out in the forest. When I got to Poland, you guys, bear in mind that I landed at nighttime. It could have been like a nightmare. The trees were so tall, right? And the air was so crisp. It literally smells sweet. Literally sweet. And I was like, this is a land where they haven't gone out of their way to just destroy everything for the purposes of money or power or fame or anything. To the extent that they protect, the wolves are protected there, so you can't kill the wolves. I go out here at night and I see the frigging foxes hanging around with the cats. Chilling. People are out here. I remember I was in London once. I was at the bus stop. I was actually discombobulated by the fact that I'm here watching somebody just feeding the fox chocolate. my next door neighbor is giving the foxes and the cats, they're all chilling, there's 4 or 5 of them. We used to chat, 4 cats and like 5 foxes, yeah, used to chill outside. She would feed the foxes, yeah, they'll be getting, the absolute like extra value like sausages you get at the supermarket, where it's like in there's like, say if it's a pork sausage, it's about 2% pork, and then it's like 8% wheat flour, 4% dextrose, whatever's xanthan gum, all these other items, stabilizers and all this. This is what she's feeding the foxes. The foxes were getting fat. They couldn't do nothing. And also, fair enough, because, they're not even having a habitat. This is what we do. And I'm specifically talking about the UK and the US here. This whole thing of just the entitlement. And then the hypocrisy of it all after the fact. Who are you to go and make a thing? Maybe they wanted to leave the land. Maybe they respect the land. Maybe they respect the land and they think, you know what? We want to leave this as it is, or if we want to do it, we want to do it on time. Or again, if you do it and you build it, who owns it then? Who runs it? Who's taking the money off top? And you know what they'll do? They'll say, "Oh, we're going to create jobs for local people." Do they want that? And who's getting the overall money? Because if that's going to be in Albania, it should go to the Albanian economy. And this is the stuff they do, by the way, guys. I just want to make this so clear, because this is what's also happening at Victoria Falls in Zimbabwe. Well, it's on the Zimbabwe-Zambia border. You go there and you pay money to go in. Why? It should just be free. And who's making the money? Oh, well, we're hiring the locals. But the country itself should own it. And then it will be the freaking West, yeah? I'm so sick of the West with this immigration conversation, by the way. The freaking West, dumb dingus, dingleberry dingbats that will be like, oh, you're having issues with people coming here. And the immigrants and people in their own countries, if they're so whatever in their own countries. Yeah, so maybe leave us the hell alone. My only problem, can I tell you guys, want to know what I really think? My only problem with those of us who are outside of the Western countries, so like the countries where I come from, is that when these people arrive with all this nonsense, that we're not taking up the right to bear arms the same way they are. That's my only issue. I'm like, get rid of them. Because they have no problem coming in. And then we're like, yeah, sure, hi. And then when we go to their countries, oh, these people have come and ruined our countries. Oh, whatever. And this is what they do then when they go visit. Oh, this look nice. Let's name this statue. Let's name this beautiful waterfall in Africa that's got its own name, its own African name, which again could give people culture and people could learn more about the country and give it an identity. And you know what's crazy? Victoria Falls, Mosi Otunya, used to be one of the 7 wonders of the world. You know why they got stripped of that? I don't know if everybody knows this, but I'm going to tell you. Do you know that Zimbabwe's been sanctioned ever since the Civil War? Because when the Brits were Cecil Rhodes and all those people were fighting against the Zimbabwean nationals, back when my grandmother was still alive, and she was very much alive for this, right? You know that when they won and when the native Zimbabweans won, you know that they sanctioned them as a result, just like how they're sanctioning Vladimir Putin, because they just sanction people who are not doing what they want. They don't sanction people who are doing wrong. They sanction people who are not doing what they want. This is the most heinous season of history I think I could have lived in. And then you have the average person who falls for the propaganda, listens to stuff on the news, and doesn't know this stuff. So who are you? Again, it's classic. I was not surprised when I heard, they thought they wanted to make a resort because they thought it looked nice. I was like, this is exactly what I expect. This is exactly what I expect of the behavior of people from the US and UK types of governments. Oh, I go over there and I feel entitled to just do whatever I want to do. Because as somebody else pointed out the other day, I saw someone, I can't remember, what no one seems to talk about to a lot of people who are, this is me talking to those of us on the ground here, yeah, the average regular person. What people don't tell you about is that a lot of people immigrate. Now, my story is different. That's what I'm saying. We got chosen. We got collected. We literally got collected. We got recruited. We were minding our business. Do you know that if they never came, I reckon my parents' plan was actually to remain in Zimbabwe. They had no plans of moving. That's why I feel like I can speak about this, because we weren't one of those and we were on the boat and we were looking for a better life. We just so happened to have this opportunity come along, and hey, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't they? If I was my parents, I would be like, hey, this sounds like such a cool opportunity, and you're being offered to be bought. And they don't want to talk about that, do they? No, they don't. So for those of you on the ground, these are the things you guys need to know about. Because like I said, somebody else pointed out, a lot of people, they come for a good life. You know why they came to a good life to the West? Because of what the West did to their countries. Because of what the West did to their countries. When we're having all this trash and rubbish, you wonder why certain countries look so dirty. It's because all of our trash and rubbish that we don't have landfill space for anymore, it's going to those countries. You wonder why there's people working in China in sweatshops and all of this, and kids are having to work and they're working 30,000 hours. It's so you can buy things from Shein and Temu. And then you want to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe they're doing this. They should change the human rights laws. If they change that, you won't be able to afford it. Donald Trump's like, oh, Africa's so poor. But then also Africa's the same place where you get, I don't know, copper, aluminium, gold, diamond. What else do we have? Ghana's the largest producer of tomatoes in the world. Hello. But we're just doing nothing, right? We're just these barbarians living in huts that can't offer anything. And then we come to your countries, we ruin everything. Interesting. And when you go places, what do? We come places and we work. My mum's worked in the healthcare industry longer than I've been alive, both in the United States and in this country. She's done that job her entire life. Her entire life, ever since she left, she's worked in healthcare in America the entire time we were there, and she's worked here. Yeah. And that's what you people have to say. But then when you go to other countries, oh, you know what? I think we're going to build a resort here. But you guys should come back for my next video, because I'm going to tell you why I really think they're making a big deal about immigration. Because I think part of it is they're trying to get votes for themselves, because of course whoever they let in is going to be loyal to them if they let them in and then give them citizenship or give them voting rights. Also, I think it's an excuse for them to try and introduce digital IDs, because they want to have digital IDs. So if they upset us and we're all like, oh my gosh, immigration, let's have digital IDs to protect us, then they have access to all of everything. They can 100% track us, because I believe they're trying to get to track us as much as possible. But finally, I think there's something interesting if we talk about the subject of child trafficking, why it would be, do you not think this would be an absolutely incredible way to separate children from their families and then have those children go missing and unaccounted for and nobody know about it and the public never know, and then be able to use them for the crazy things that they're doing that we know that they do? Wouldn't that just be like the most genius way to like harvest a whole bunch of kids legally and no one know about it? We're going to circle back to that. Because if life's a game, let's play to win. God bless you all. God loves you. I love you. I'll see you next time.